show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's August 26, 2021. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, and we're talking about the news of the day. And Matt, yesterday we spent a lot of time discussing our opening blog with Tyreek Stevenson, part of our NIL relationships. And today we get to talk about our NIL relationship and our opening blog with Mike Harley. Both of them just incredibly captivating stories to tell. One of the beautiful things about these NIL deals is that when we do normal interviews and media availabilities throughout the course of the year, they're usually relatively quick. Often other reporters are involved, and we only get to ask a limited number of questions. And we don't really get to know these kids in the same way that we're getting to know them doing these blogs. And they really, what we're finding is that they really have some amazing stories to tell. I thought Tyreek's opening blog yesterday was absolutely scintillating, and I know it had me riveted, and I'm sure many other people as well. And today, Mike Harley has an equally compelling story to tell.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's sad is that, the NIL is the reason that these kids can tell their stories. How come every single Miami Hurricanes player should have this opportunity to tell their stories if they want to? I mean, fans love it, and the kids want the fans to get to know who they are, not to see them as athletes. Fans all the time in the past have told us, we're also students, we're also people. Fans just see us as football players. They criticize us only because of what we do on the football field. We're so much more than that. And this is the perfect platform, but I just don't understand why it took an NIL deal for us to be able to share these stories. I mean, you look at the Tyreek story yesterday and the Mike story this morning, and, fans should be wow. No matter what these kids do on the field, whether they're awful or great, fans are going to root for kids because now they know, oh, my gosh, look what these kids have been through.
I mean, this is modern-day college sports, and, I agree with you. As somebody that's been in this business now 40 years, I mean, I personally think it's totally ridiculous. I mean, I came up in this industry. We were able to get one-on-one interviews on a regular basis. We were allowed to go in locker rooms and talk to everybody we wanted to talk to. It's literally totally controlled media. My point is media has changed, and, at CaneSport, we've had to adjust to that, and I think we have. And these NIL deals give us the opportunity to dive deeper with these guys. They call it name, image, likeness for a reason. And we're focused on doing things with the kids that allow them to build their brand. And I hope we're accomplishing that.
No, and it's definitely changed. And credit to you, Gary, as a publisher of CaneSport. You've really, changed sort of what we're doing to sort of let fans still see the inside of these student athletes and get different angles of everything instead of just these, carte blanche interviews, which we still do. But I mean, just you get what you get and everyone else gets it. So it's nice that we at least have some unique content and other ways of viewing this program.
Well, we've had to adapt, and that's all you can do is adapt. And I hope we've done that pretty successfully. I love this NIL because it not only gives us a chance to get to know the kids better and get their stories, but I think it provides our subscribers with, a unique form of content, and it allows us to help the kids, and it gives them extra money to do things with and makes their lives more comfortable. We work very closely with Dan Lambert, and he's got a lot of things going on. He's already working towards next year. This year, every player on the team got $600 through the American Top Team deal. Dan Lambert's working on putting together a consortium that will make sure every player gets at least $1,000 a month. So this NIL thing is going to keep growing. We're doing everything we can to support it, both through our own efforts and through the efforts of others. And like I said, I think it's ultimately it's good for the fans because we're able to give them some different and unique content. All right, so Mike Harley's story today, Matt, is really compelling, and things that we didn't even know about were some of the different family situations he had, moving back and forth to Atlanta to try to, have a better life up there, then coming back and getting cut from the football team at St. Thomas Aquinas when he started out. At one point, his family, I guess, was living in a hotel and was homeless for a while and things like that. So this is a very, very compelling story that I encourage everybody to check out. I'm not going to give the whole thing away right now because I want everybody to be able to read it and enjoy it. But check out that Mike Harley opening blog today on CaneSport.com. All right, other stories coming to you this morning. Our 15 impactful players in 15 days series reaches its culmination with number one. No surprise, Matt, on who that is. De'Ara King, probably as impactful of a player in the Hurricane program as a single human being as anybody we've seen in quite some time.
I don't think anybody's surprised by who number one is. The question is our number one good enough to beat Alabama? Because, from everything that everyone seems to think, and I agree, like if he has a Heisman-like performance, Miami has a chance to win. And if he doesn't, it's not going to be a pleasant afternoon for the Hurricanes.
Well, if he doesn't have a Heisman-like performance, they have no chance to win. So, absolutely, I agree with you. And this kid, to me, has really transformed and in many ways saved the program. They were coming off a 6-7 season. There was not a lot of hope, a lot of offensive problems. Dan Enos was being fired after 9 months on the job, whatever it was, 10 months maybe. Things were looking pretty bleak for Blake James, Manny Diaz, and everybody else. And, Manny's able to go out and get Rhett Lashley, and then Rhett Lashley is able to work in tandem and get De'Ara King to come to Miami. And from that moment, it just seems like so many of the problems that the program was having were able to be looked at in a different perspective because this kid has transformed the locker room, transformed the attitude around the team. And I thought, Matt, that he was responsible for at least 3 victories last year.
Yeah, I would say between him and, Jose Borregales, I think they saved several games for Miami that would have been lost the year before. So, there's no doubt, I'm not one to look back as much as look forward. So the question is, this is year 2 under Rhett Lashley. If he really is faster like he says he is and 100% ready to go, with better receivers and, an offensive line that has everyone back, you have to think he's going to be even better, and this offense will be even better. They can average over 40 points a game. So, if they can put up a ton of points against Alabama, obviously they should be in the game. That's going to be the huge key. All
right, another football story we're following today that we'll keep your eyes open for is we're expecting a decision soon on the Avante Williams situation. Don't see this one lingering for too much longer. The facts are pretty clear-cut. The university is either going to let him back in or not let him back in. We think that one could bounce either way. A couple of recruiting stories this morning. Matt, with Miami not looking as favorable with defensive end prospects, Shamar Stewart and even Nigel Lee Kelly, it looks like they're trying to spread their wings back in the direction of the guys at South State High. Daniel Lyons, who's committed to Florida State, Dante Anderson, who's still a free agent of sorts out there. But the story that we have today talks about the recruitment of these two guys, and it's really been very topsy-turvy, has not gone well. And part of the reason is Miami can't seem to decide whether they really want these guys or not. And I personally think that's a good thing because, I feel like they're doing the right thing and trying to elevate their recruiting. The bad thing is that it's not going really well. And it's looking like pretty much all of the top prospects in South Florida might be getting away. And to me, that's just a total disaster for the program, not being able to build on what they were able to do last year in a COVID year in getting Leonard Taylor and James Williams and a Cam Kinchins and so many other good players, Jacoby George, all these guys from South Florida that we're seeing in fall camp looking really good, that are good recruits. Now that recruiting's gone back to normal, Matt, it seems like the problems that Miami's had over the past several years are coming back.
Yeah, I mean, defensive line recruiting is not going real well. I mean, it was specifically with Daniel Lyons, defensive tackle, and Dante Anderson, defensive end. I mean, they both, from what I've been told, they both loved Todd Stroud. I mean, Todd Stroud recruited them for a long time, and and Jess Simpson came in, and obviously Jess Simpson has great credentials and has coached at Miami before, but he just wasn't really as high on Dante Anderson and his system as Todd Stroud was. And at that time, both these kids were like dead set on playing together in college. And I think it probably maybe created a little bit of a sour note for them with Miami at that time. And, this is sort of the thing I talk about all the time, but losing contact with kids for a long period of time and then coming back around again, like, oh, now we want you, that doesn't really fly with a lot of today's kids. And, if Dante Anderson has some decent options, and I'm not sure he really will. I mean, he's very undersized. And, some schools seem like they want him, but they've seemed like they want him in the past and then dropped him too. So it's not like Miami's the only one who's sort of been hot and cold with this kid. But in general, just sort of losing touch with the kid and getting back, it doesn't usually work out too well for Miami. So we'll see what happens.
I had another recruiting story this morning on 4-star defensive back 2023, Herman McLean. Looks like he might be a perfect fit for the Hurricanes, but it's still very early in the game. We'll give you an update on where he stands in recruiting at the moment. All right, that's going to do it for today. Audio only this morning. We had some technical difficulties on the video side, but we still thank you for joining us on Good Morning CaneSport. And keep an eye on the website today for further updates on that Avante Williams situation that we think could be coming as soon as today.
What really happened was Gary put on those glasses for the whole video presentation, and I insisted we only do audio. That's what happened.
And it blew up the internet. All right, let me try this exit again. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning CaneSport. We'll come back at you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great day.